Welcome to another episode of the APL Spotlight Series. We've got an incredible guest coming to us from Nevada, former Green Beret, and much more, Randy Anderson. He's been on a lot of shows. He's been on a very special path and had a lot of unique experiences. I'd say the best way I can describe him is he's the consummate inner, fearless, peaceful warrior. He's paying attention to the moment, to universe, to what's before him and around him, and he's choosing love as often as possible as he goes forward on his very special path. Randy, great to see you.
You. Thank you.
Great to have you here. And let me ask you a big picture question. This is going to get you talking here. And this is not an easy one. What's going on with mankind, consciousness, the universe, and just all of us? What's our opportunity for growth here? Are we the only casino on the Vegas Strip? Let's also do it that way. Is mankind alone?
Oh no, definitely not. Not even close. I think everybody intuitively knows that, if not more, I think they at least are picking up on that if they're not already aware of what we are. You mentioned something though that kind of stuck out when you said peaceful warrior. My new thing I like to say is the savage monk. It's kind of how I envision it as for like guys like me that are kind of real reluctant to go down this path of love and light. It's an easier way to look at it. Like you could still be both. The peaceful warrior, savage monk.
I
I
like
like
it.
it.
I like it. Okay, take us a little bit through your journey, but tell it in sort of a different way. You first were like a firefighter and then
Mhm.
military, Green Beret, long time. And let's have you tell it in your own words.
Okay, yeah, well, I always was drawn to doing something in service to my country or community, so I became a fireman really young. I was 19 years old 19 years old when I got hired for the city fire department here in Las Vegas. And after 5 years, about 5 years on the job, I started feeling like there was more I needed to do. I was helping people in the community. I was at a busy firehouse. I was fighting fires and I was doing a lot of the medical stuff. But the war was going on and people were going overseas, and I just felt like I should do more. I was capable of doing more. So I looked into it, and at the time I was married, I talked to my wife about it, and we had come to an agreement that I was going to try out to go for special forces. And so I went down that path, and it took about 4 years to get through everything before I finally got to a team, and then a couple more years of training there before I started deploying. But yeah, I did them concurrently. So I did the fire department. I took a leave of absence to go do special forces and the military stuff. I did some active duty time and then came back to the fire department and then did like a reserve National Guard time and the fire department at the same time.
And let's ask a question along the way. Where were you on the curve? How conscious were you of how big the universe is, how abundant, how positive it is? Good luck with that. Where were you? Were you still just so focused on the path, what was in front of you, that you really didn't have time to focus on much else?
Super ego driven. I definitely had the heart to want to help others. That's what I was doing it for. But there was also a large part of it that was wanting to be this person because not only because I thought it was good, but there was also an ego involved with it. And I think that died off as I went through the struggles that I went through as a consequence of doing the jobs and things that I've done. There's always there's a cost to pay for doing that type of work. There just is. It takes a toll, and seeing a lot of negativity and death and the stuff that you see doing that type of work, and um, it took a toll on me spiritually. It threw me for a loop and put me in a dark place. And going through that and having a sort of ego death is like this cliche thing that people say, but that's what it felt like. Having that ego die off a little bit, it felt like that's what really opened me up to realize how how much bigger the universe was, I guess. Yeah.
I love it. We're gonna hone in on that ego death and sort of the stuff that led up to it because a lot of shows have focused on that. We wouldn't want to skip that.
Mm.
And we can cover it at the end if you want. But is it fair to say you feel lighter now? You're starting to feel lighter, you're letting go, you're not holding on as much to certain things.
Yes, and I'm learning more how to do that every day as time goes on. So, yes.
Nice. Okay, in your own words, let's jump forward and tell us how many years we're jumping forward. And let's maybe, it could be Crane, it could be somewhere else. What kind of precipitated the ego death? When you get, presented stuff that shatters your worldview or at least throws you for a loop, that's one of the times. It could be trauma, accident, 5 divorces in 5 weeks. You're that unlucky guy. It could be anything. What happened to you?
Well, I like to talk about this in the way that it was a cumulative thing. It wasn't one incident or one scenario. There was a lot of stuff happening. I was going on calls on the fire department that were starting. I just noticed they were affecting me more. Um, a death of a child call that I went on where a child was killed by the mother, and that was a difficult call for me to be a part of. I was on another call a while before that where a large family was in an SUV accident and most of the family passed away. And I was involved with trying to save the kids and we lost two of the kids. So it was just that stuff. And then losing some friends overseas to combat operations and guys that I was in the military with, that took a toll. And then went through a divorce shortly after all that, and it just the combination of all those things are sort of what led to me just giving up hope. I stopped feeling hopeful. I stopped being motivated. I stopped being happy. Like I'm a pretty happy person. I used to just wake up happy. I mean, it to the point where it would annoy some people just that I was always in a good mood, and I lost that, I lost that part of me for a while. And I was just very depressed and in a very dark place and was trying to self-medicate. And I think in all that, when I finally started coming through all that and getting better is when I really, really opened up myself to start to think of things differently. And, you know, spiritually just started a new journey.
Can we
But
jump?
all of that.
Yeah.
But
Can we jump to a moment where the universe stepped in? It could have been an angel in human form. It could have been this, could have been that. Just a voice in your head that said something. It could have sounded like your own instinct. But again, I would argue, what do you think? Half the intuition we get when it's positive stuff, you'd freak out if it was an actual angel's voice, your relative's voice that's passed over, a loved one. Um, can you share with us one of those moments that you definitely know you weren't alone? You got some assistance.
I'll share one that's kind of unique and different. There's been probably several at this point, just moments that jolted me, down a different path. But there was one cool one that I haven't ever shared before. I was in a PTSD treatment facility. I was doing like a 2 month deal there, and I was learning how to meditate and had my first out of body experience in that process. And then one night I was out in the backyard of this place. This is in Southern California. The weather was really nice, and I was in the backyard meditating and something gave me the intuition to look up, and I looked up and there was a large cigar-shaped craft flying overhead, and I even got my phone out and took some video of it, and I was just freaking out. It was the first time I ever seen a real like unidentified object, flying in the sky like that. So that was cool, but like I said, I was meditating and something gave me that the voice in my head was like look up, and I did, and I saw that, so that was kind of cool. And it's another thing that made me realize, that maybe there's more to all this.
I love it. Talk to us about angels, and it doesn't have to be too long, but do angels exist?
Of course, yes.
How do you know?
I've interacted with them. Yeah, I think if you'd asked me that, even after I started this journey and had a more open belief, I still wouldn't have said for sure angels, but that's something just more so in the last few years that has been more prevalent in my life. And even the way you came into my life was sort of through that same kind of channel as far as angels have just been really prominent in my life in the last few years.
And thank you for that. Can you say something reassuring to somebody who's tuning in who's like, whoa, that's a lot for me. I haven't had these experiences yet. I'm not so sure. How can you, and I'll do it in a video game analogy, metaphor sort of style. It's like a power pack or a boost. If anybody's ever played like a, it doesn't have to be a first person shooter, but it could be anything. Nintendo something, 5-year-old level. You get a little bonus pack and there's lots of sparkles and you get a +5. I don't know what that means, but the point is, can you throw it into a different way that a person who's a little more unsure, they're like, I haven't had those experiences, I'm not sure. How would you say it in a very gentle, loving fashion?
Well, I would say as far as for somebody that's maybe skeptical about that, because I was very skeptical on anything to do with that. I would just say you have to get to a point where you're just willing to accept a little bit more. You don't have to be willing to accept the whole universe right now. Just be willing to accept a little further than what your belief system is right now. Just allow yourself to open up and accept a little more than what you think is possible. And start there and maybe you'll see something within that range that'll surprise you, you know. Just being open to it will allow you to. It's like when you have you buy a red car and then you see more red cars. If you're a little more open to the possibility that something like that miracles are possible, then you just might start seeing them more, you know.
I love it. Okay, if I've learned a couple things in 15 years since I had to begin this journey, and boy, was I deer in 100 million headlights back then, maybe 99.9 million headlights now. Um, I've learned where you put your focus is where you put your focus. How you spend your energy is how you spend it. You're responsible for all of it, and ignorance is no excuse. I'm not trying to make it sound too serious, but also you can be happy now in this very moment without a single reason. Now, all three things either came from Native American chiefs or angels, so I'd love to say I said it, but I actually remembered these three things. Can you take those three elements where you put your focus is where you put your focus? It's like surfing. You have a good ride if you really pay attention. And then how you spend your energy is how you spend it. And you can be happy now in this moment without a single reason. Can you combine those three and give us a little bit of your patented Randy Anderson life philosophy?
Um, hmm. I'll say it like this. I stopped negotiating with myself. That's the thing I like to say. I stopped negotiating with myself when you're and I battle with that. I'm not perfect. I don't have it all figured out, obviously. But when I could set my intention and do the things that I set an intention to do, and I don't sit and negotiate with myself. For example, it's time to go to the gym and work out your legs. I know everybody hates doing legs for the most part. And so, it's raining out, so I'm not going to do legs today. That's negotiating with yourself and coming up with a reason not to do something. When you could stop doing that, you just say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. No more negotiating with yourself. Stop having those conversations, inner conversations of debating whether or not you should, and just do. Then I found that to be a lot more effective for me. So, no more negotiating with myself. And the less I do that, the more I find myself doing things that I want to do and having a more positive result in things that I accomplish.
Action with no thought. I like that.
Sometimes,
Okay,
yeah.
let's talk a serious topic. So it's disclosure, it's UFOs, it's aliens, it's reverse technology, and there's a lot of seeking going on by a lot of groups, and they're not allowed to stop. It's scientists, it's military, it's civilian. Everyone wants a piece of the action because there's a lot going on. How is this a little less about all that? Before we dive into any details on what you've been through, how is it a little bit less about the mankind level of knowing, the knowing that precludes possibilities like prove it? And has to go inch by inch like a snail. How is it less about up here and more about down here? Don't you feel like you're a little bit more of an expert now on talking about it's heart centered first?
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of everything right now is to get as many people to recognize that as possible. I mean, it's kind of our responsibility, I think, as people that understand that to spread that to everyone we can, right? And get when they say to awaken people or whatever terminology you want to use doesn't really matter, but it's our responsibility to spread that information, to spread the word, and help as many people come along and get up to speed as we can because that I feel like I don't know exactly what's coming, but obviously we're heading towards something. There's something in our near future that's approaching, and I think it can be really good or really bad, and it really depends on on perspective and how we're receiving it. And I think some people are going to experience what's coming as an amazing, beautiful thing, and some people might not. And I think it's really dependent on you as an individual and how you perceive it and how you're living your life and how where your heart's at and all of it. So I guess if that I don't know if that really makes sense or answers the question, but it's kind of how I'm looking at things. I want to try to be um, a better source of positive information for people. There's so much negativity. It's so easy to just find something negative on social media or the internet, and I want to try to be a more positive source of that.
I think it was Archangel Michael. It could have been Gabriel. There's not a lot I remember, but maybe 10 years ago said positivity is abundance. And I've loved that. If I could get a tattoo, but I wouldn't, it would say positivity is abundance. Okay, let's tackle allowing more, loving more, show love always. Good luck with that. There's something called thinking and judging and resisting and reacting. It's all fear. There's a lot of that going on. Control. We're seeing push for censorship. It's actually in place. Digital ID, all this stuff in Australia, UK, Canada. There's a lot of places. A lot of stuff is going down. How do you know to keep your chin up and to trust more and worry less? How do you know?
Ooh, man, that's the hard part. Um, I think we have to use our discernment, but also I think we need to. I think it's more about trusting in each other than it is the powers that be or whatever that is. I think the idea right now is for us to come together in more of a community sense and realize that we're not so different and we're actually all in the same struggle together and that we are all one team. I know that sounds kind of cheesy in a way, but I mean that's just the reality of it for me is I'm starting to see that, and it's been for a while now that we really need to come together. It's the time for us to do that, and I think that's what all this is trying to get us to wake up and realize we need to join together and be that global community. We are one planet. You know, we're we just have so many ways of dividing ourselves and seeing ourselves as different, and it's just silly when you start to look at things differently. It's starts to become silly.
And Mother Teresa, this one I can remember for sure. Mother Teresa said, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. And I like that one a lot. I think she said that one while she was alive. And I think this next one, laughter is love. I think she
Mhm.
said that from the other side. And she also said, compassion is like a deep breath for many. And by that, she meant, we're all running around, or generally, if you live in a big city or just a big job or a busy job, you're working more than 40 hours a week, you're slammed. Even if you're working 35 hours a week, you can be up here so much that the closest you're going to get to slowing down to full stop is a deep breath twice a day. Good luck with that. Welcome to
Mm.
being human. Talk to us a little bit more about meditation. Are you still meditating today? Has that been a big help along the path?
Yeah, definitely. And I notice also, like I said, I'm far from perfect. And when I start lacking in those things, when I start falling falling back a little on the meditation, or I start leaving some of the important things out, my breathing exercises, when I don't do those as much as I normally do, if I fall off my routine, it affects me and I notice it in my day. So yeah, meditation I think is key. And I don't think it's about necessarily, and this is for people that have difficult time meditating because that was me. I mean, I couldn't do 2 minutes when I first started trying to meditate. It was literally a battle to just sit for 30 seconds and in silence. It was just a struggle to do that. I started doing it actually to try to get better sleep at night. And I did this nighttime meditation where you do this 10-minute thing before bed. And I started just doing a minute at a time and learning how to do a little more, a little more, a little more, and got up to where I was doing 10, 15 minutes every night before bed. And that was starting to really help me get to sleep. And so that opened me up to more realization that meditation could help and that it's actually something I can do. But my point of saying that is to get to the point that I think just people getting understanding that meditation, you're not trying to get to a certain destination with it or to a certain place with it. It's just about relaxing for a minute, stepping outside of the rat race, just deprogramming from the chaos of the day, like just learning how to separate yourself from that for a moment even. So like you said, taking that deep breath, like just being able to do that for a moment and taking the having the discipline to allocate that time to do it, and then the actual discipline to do it uh is important. And when you do that, I think that's the key. It's not about doing it right or having an out of body experience the first time you start meditating or having this profound things happen when you do it. It's just silencing the noise for a bit and learning how to calm yourself down, focus on your breath, just kind of go within a little bit. I think that's was super helpful for me in the beginning. Just being able to do a little bit of that it'll have a big impact, I think, for people.
So there's been a few sources on the spirituality front or just movie front. I'm going to do some references here. Uh, there have been a few quotes where your answers and what you're looking for in life, what you're seeking, is never going to be found externally. You've got to go through the world that you knew at one point, and go into your heart, into a broader reality. And oftentimes that can be a crack up. It could be again, the motorcycle accident. It could be the divorce. It could be a combination of things. You lost your job and it had been very important to you. You identified with it. Something that shook you to the core is often how we have to have the kick in the pants.
Mhm.
Others willfully go through it through meditation and other experiences. Now, Peaceful Warrior, the gymnastics film, it's like a Disney movie not made by Disney. Nick Nolte's in it, Scott Meklowitz, Amy Smart. I think it's like 2006. It's supposed to be the late 1960s with Dan Millman. Literally, I think he went to Berkeley, on to the Olympics. And it's his personal story. Motorcycle crash. He was told he's never going to walk again, but he comes all the way back. He's got the gas station attendant. It's an adult karate kid. And the Mr. Miyagi figure is the gas station attendant, Nick Nolte, at his best. And it really is an angel, if you don't mind, if anybody wants my 2 cents, named Herb. And so he
Mhm.
comes all the way back, and it's beautiful. And that is a either the deleted scene at the bus stop. People can check out the DVD. And I think it's Seth, the light being from the 1970s, sort of the new age thing. If people don't like that expression, that's fine. One of the very early spiritual books, where literally the quote is what I said earlier. It's not going to be found externally, but through your heart, through the world you knew, into a broader reality. And there's still a third source that I'm blanking on. Esther Hicks talks about that stuff. Can you talk to us about where you are in that stage? Clearly, you left behind the old reality. How is the bigger reality you found? How is it broader, shinier, and again, more positive? And how do you know?
So I'm gonna talk about that in kind of my own way, if that's okay, because
Yep,
I
please.
think it's important. I had the experiences I had that led to me kind of having my awakening or whatever you want to call it. And then in that, I found I saw the universe as this big, beautiful place. I realized we're not alone. I realized that angels are real. Whatever it was for me, my beautiful epiphany of this new world that I'm living in. And what I would caution people is that thinking that's it, that's it, the work stops, or that there's nothing else you have to do. Like I feel like something that I didn't realize that I'm realizing now and that I'm going through now is that's just the beginning, kind of like that's when the work really begins, I think. And I say that because that's the part where I'm at right now is like, I went through that experience and I thought, oh, it's just going to be smooth sailing from here on out and happy because I'm just going to choose to be happy. And it just doesn't always work that way, right? I mean, things happen and you get kicked in the balls, and life is what it is. And I think I think it's just important for me to say that because the struggle that I'm going through now is kind of reevaluating and saying, you know what, I still got to put in the work. I still got to remember I'm still a human being living in this 3D reality, and I still have to do the things, that are part of the world that I'm in. I can't just float through it in the way I was thinking. I got a little bit hopeful and a little bit too energized from the whole positive experience of the awakening, and then I think for some people that could be probably a hard hit if they're not ready for it. And so I just want to bring that up, and I think in a way for people that are going through something similar, just once you do have that moment, of kind of realizing that there's more to this life, and that's a big positive experience. I think there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, and that I think you probably can relate to that a little bit, I'm sure. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of responsibility that comes to that, and it actually there's a lot of work related to that for me for sure coming up. I want to be able to help people, and I want to be able to say the right thing. So it's just it's difficult to try to put it into words sometimes.
It's difficult, it's easy, it's difficult, it's
Yeah,
easy, it's easy, it's difficult, it's whatever.
sure.
Are you up here? Are you here? Are you up here? Are you down here? There's an
Yeah,
angel named Charlotte. She's one of my business managers along with Archangel Michael. But look, Angels once said, thinking's not going away. It's not in the cards for all of us, but 7% less thinking is what she said daily or weekly or monthly. And I've gotten the calculator out a dozen times. I've forgotten. It's like an hour and 47 minutes or something. That's all you can reasonably expect. But I bet you could do 3 hours in one day and you're only going to do 30 minutes of less thinking. Good luck with that. Good luck. And the second you say he's right, I'm going to try, it's ego talking. It's like those
mhm,
New Year's resolutions. But so you were talking about how growth and expansion never stop. I'll
mhm.
do the Tibetan version of this, opening openness. Good luck with that. But it is exactly what happens as soon as you stop trying. It's no try, Yoda, always try. Archangel Gabriel said that like 10 years ago. And they're both correct. This isn't about words. And
Yes.
one more, the Navy SEALs or the Delta Force or whoever. The only easy day was yesterday. And also on the teams, and I have no place to talk about this, but Delta Force, I hear, you're only as good as like a week ago. And then you're not performing. Boom, you're gone. And here we're
Yeah.
talking about being here in your heart. So I wanted to ask about your senses and not to make this too much focused on awakening or any of the extra fringe benefits, but where have you noticed you've let go of thinking and instead you're more in your heart? You're being all that you can be in a new way. How are you paying attention more? Are you feeling the land more? Are you more intuitive? Are you just getting things coming in that you're like, wow, that's a beautiful sunset threefold?
Well, there's that for sure, but there's also, I would say, I'm a lot more empathetic. I start to, rather than, I'll give a small example. Like in traffic, I used to get so frustrated, and Vegas traffic's terrible. And I used to get really frustrated and be yelling at the traffic. And I've learned, not learned, I think it's just kind of a byproduct of the changes that I made, but I don't feel the same way. Like I don't get as frustrated with people. I tend to start to think of like, oh, they must be having a rough day, or I give people a lot more benefit of the doubt, I think, than I used to. And I try to be that way more, and I try to acknowledge that I'm when I am that way, and like give myself a pat on the back, and then try to push myself to be more like that when I don't feel that way, because I don't always feel that way.
What's one of your favorite mantras, reminders, or phrases that really helps you circle back and get to your being, your beingness, your suchness, your core you, the bigger you?
Mm, I like quotes. I like one of my favorite ones is an Einstein quote where he says either everything is a miracle or nothing is. And that kind of makes you really think about how you're looking at the world, how you're looking at life, and how you're looking at everything. There's that, and then Seneca has a good one. Forget what is it? It's something about I forget it. There's that, and then there's one that's whether you think you're right or you're wrong, you're correct, right? Whether you think you're right or wrong, you're correct, or
Uh,
something along those lines. But
he had one that was one must steer, not talk when in a boat. And I like that one too. And I do like that other one by him. And people can meet Seneca, they can meet Plato, Marcus Aurelius. I'm skipping somebody, Socrates. And maybe we'll do that later in the show. We might take a little step doing mini miracles. It's whatever a person will allow for. I think 95% of my guests have taken some sort of step with the universe caught lit sage at this end. And so if in a little bit you want to do that, you might get some private answers that you don't have to share out loud. So if it's I don't have the right words here, the cigar shaped one, that very first experience that you mentioned earlier, you can hear who that was, what it was about. You can even see it again with your eyes shut. You'll only say got it out loud. So we don't know your own private stuff. And that miracles quote from Einstein, that was what I was desperately trying to remember. A little vacuous. Back when you were talking miracles earlier, I could not remember that quote. So I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, what I will do is something really basic, and I will light sage in Texas. You can catch it in Nevada and anywhere in the world, doesn't matter what year you're watching, 2030 in Berlin, you're in Christchurch, you're in Tokyo. The world works in a bigger, wider, wilder fashion than we could ever imagine, or imagination is probably the way to go. So just allow, and time and space isn't what you think it is. And I'll do one last, not a caveat, a reminder. If you've ever been in a class and the teacher, that 1 hour, the teacher was incredible or the teacher was boring, that 1 hour can feel like 2 hours, stretch on forever. You might actually see auras on the person in front of you. You're that bored. Or if it was fantastic, it might have zipped by in 15 minutes. And vacation spots. You've ever done a week vacation at a really special spot? It could have stretched into feeling like a month. Get back on that plane, the boat, the car. You come back a year later and it went by in 3 days. Not that month anymore. So it's funky. Time is weird. Here's the sage, and I've only got one rule or a bit of structure that I almost forgot to say. Set your intent. So ask angels, the universe, if you don't mind addressing angels, to get you out of your head into your heart, to catch a little bit of smoke. I'm going to light some here in Texas, and if you don't mind just saying got it when you get it. Some people get it as I'm just lighting it. You can ask for flowers and ocean if you want. I know you're landlocked.
Got it.
Okay. And I'm going to still blow a little and use a red-tailed hawk feather to push it further. Um, Let the universe come in, and do you get like either pancakes, wisteria, lavender, something else?
Mhm.
Okay. If you want to share what that is, that's okay. If you don't, and I'm going to snub this out so I don't smoke out the house here. And are you comfortable if I put up a photo of an angel named Joy? Can I put her up and have her? You're going to play listener for us, but for all of mankind, what's the easiest, simple message that people can take away if they're going to remember just one thing? And it might be just the word love. Who knows? Here's Joy, and I'm putting up a photo. I actually took a photo like 10 or 14 years ago. Here she is. What are you getting from her? And do you feel extra energy all over?
The golden rule.
Ooh, I like that. Do unto
Rule.
others as they do unto you, or as angels said, I'll do regard others generously and without fixation. Regard others as yourself, generously and without fixation. But can you give us your version of that?
Treat others as you want to be treated.
Like it.
Mhm.
What has caught you off guard in the last year that has shifted and broadened your consciousness, your perspective on everything?
Hmm. I would say a lot of the negativity in the media and the obvious attempt to try to divide people has really galvanized my spirituality in a way that it's made me want to be more of a voice against that type of message. So seeing the negativity and the attempt to keep us in duality and separate, it's so obvious to me that it frustrates me and it makes me want to fight against it. The warrior in me comes out for sure, and I think it's the next battleground for me.
Do you feel that all the technology, maybe 75 years of physics, kind of went out the window for a little while? There are certain people who got to play with the toys or to do new types of science, and the rest of us were kind of kept in the dark. And that is okay. It's the way it went down. Um, do you feel that it's technically a touch of a sideshow, even though it's monumental for historic mankind history purposes? Do you feel it's a little bit of a distraction, or do you feel it's part and parcel for the course here?
I think everything is designed and everything we're receiving from the media and outside sources is designed to elicit a certain response or reaction from us. And I think it's up to all of us to be very careful how we receive that information. And I think getting information from other sources, as shows like yours or any other private social media or shows like that we watched that we talked about before, just other sources of things that are more in line with your message and the way you feel. And I think is kind of how we all should start to look at is kind of cutting out the noise. Stop listening to that negativity.
I'll do a driving analogy or metaphor or whatever. You're pulling up to a four-way stop sign intersection in a vehicle. There's a jogger, a dog walker, and a woman with a baby carriage. You are not evaluating what political party they are. You are not evaluating what nationality or religious background or anything else when you wave them across the street and let them cross safely or whatever else. So, with that, it's your golden rule. With that, can you repeat all that, but in your own way, and how important it is to have chin up and a broader perspective?
Something that came to mind when you said what you said there that I want to touch on too is even as a firefighter, I never thought about when I'm going into a burning building, you're not thinking about what somebody's political beliefs are or what race or religion or whatever. None of those things come to mind when you're trying to save somebody, or trying to help somebody. So, I mean, if we could do a little bit more of that for every scenario, I think it'd be beautiful.
I like it. Well, with your permission again, I'm going to put up a few more photos of angels, but you're going to close your eyes and just have them come in naturally, maybe one Native American chief. And if you don't mind going big picture for us, they're going to have something beautiful to share with all of us. I'll put up Archangel Michael first. Uh, People at home, if they want to put their hand up, if you want to put your hand up, it's any which way you can do it. Just feel a little warmth sparkle. If you try too hard, it'll be on your back. Try really too hard, it'll be on your toes. Are you feeling some energy?
Mhm.
Good. And I'll let you take it from there. I'm putting my photo down. You can put your hand down if it's up. And just what does Archangel Michael have for all of us? It may just be in alignment with either what you said earlier, but I have a feeling since angels can keep saying something new, they can rephrase something over and over again in the most positive, coolest, new way. They are unlimited in the way they express love. What's Archangel Michael have for all of us?
Love each other. I know that's what is always said, but I think it's so important right now. Just don't forget to love each other. Like we're all in this. We're all the same from the same source. You know.
And I'll put up Archangel Gabriel. Same thing. If you could get something from him and just say, got it when you got it, I'll drop the photo. Got it?
That we are loved. To
Awesome.
love each other, and that we are loved.
Oh, and I did promise to do this. So I'm going to put Joy up. If you don't mind closing your eyes, have her show you that ship, that moment again when you were meditating, I believe, out back and you looked up. Have her explain the backstory on it and just say, got it. And if you do want to share anything, great. Just let us know maybe that it was an unconditional love experience. There was nothing to worry about, not to freak out about. Just a reminder you aren't alone.
Yeah, that was in a moment I was really looking for answers, and I wanted to know. I was trying to understand what happened to me in the military, and that with what I saw with the technology and what it meant, and I think it was just a part of that. It was for me to know that it was something bigger, tied to something bigger.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. We're gonna have to reference the Jesse Michels interview, which is incredible. I'll make sure to put that link for his show because that show and you shared so much. You covered what would be basically a beautiful the frontal assault, the way you handle the story and the way you should handle an interview with you. Both of you shared so much, a lot of detail there. And so I'll put that link to the show below this video. Can you sort of in like 5 to 25 sentences, good luck with this, explain or encapsulate or cover again a little bit about some of the highlights from that?
About the show or the situation
The
or
show, and then how you were left with a lot of questions that
yeah.
didn't necessarily get covered on the answer part by the end of that show.
So yeah, I'll just share some personal stuff about it. I watched Jesse's show before I went on there. He was that's one of the reasons why I decided to do his show. Just because I liked the way he had interviewed some of the other people that he talked to, and I knew a little bit more. I knew some other people that were coming out with bigger stuff, and so I felt like it was the time for me to do that. Would have been at the time that I did. And I just thought it would add. I knew some of the stuff about the spheres was going to come up, and so it was kind of a deliberate decision to do it when I did, how I did it. But he's a really smart guy, and I was a little bit nervous about being able to hang with him intellectually, and I was happy that I was able to, and I actually brought up a couple things that he didn't know about that was cool for me because I was like, yeah, I was able to like I'm boxing against a heavyweight, and I'm able to like land a few punches. It's kind of how it felt, I guess, as an analogy. But he's a really smart dude, and I was just a little intimidated about that, and I ended up being able to hold my own a little, and that was kind of the cool part about it.
We watched that show at about 6 a.m. Texas time this morning, and you definitely, it was like not a boxing match in a bad way. It was very constructive. You two worked off each other, but like different names would come up. I'll mention one, Werner von Braun, if I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
Werner von Braun, if I
Yep.
said it correctly. Um, and I have to do a complete tangent. We've had a lot of guests on the show with UAP, UFO, alien direct experiences, out of body, blah, blah, blah. But we've had Britt Elders, who's in Arizona, author, filmmaker. She just re-released a book. I think it's the 45th, 40th anniversary of the Pleiadian experience in Switzerland. Billy Myers. Um, she's the CEO of Shirley MacLaine, the actress.com, that her organization knows her really well. But she was the daughter of a rocket scientist who worked with Werner von Pine
Mhm.
and directly. And she shared, I think she's been on 3 times, Mind, Body, Spirit panel, 2 other guests. Um, and on one of those, she shared being in a car with her dad and her mom on a highway, maybe New Mexico, and they pull over, and everyone's pulled over, and they're all looking up, and they all jointly saw a spacecraft go by. And so that was fascinating. I think she was the one that was able to, during filming, look out the window and either see lights or ships, because you can, not that Skywatchers isn't doing an amazing job, but it doesn't have to be that complex. You can just be like, hey,
Yeah,
I'd love to
yeah,
see a little bit of light, whatever, and you will get a response, sort of like that thing that you had happen a
yeah.
little bit
Well, it
back
happens
ago.
all the time now. So,
Okay, let's have you tie in on that, how it's a really big deal if you're up here. And after a while, it's like anything else. It's not such a big deal. You can actually forget about it. And
yeah.
just help us with the pendulum. Welcome to being human. What do we do with all this again? And you're very good at addressing this.
Am I?
Yeah, you are. You are. You're this is something I think you're going to be helping people with is just coping. We'll call it
Yeah.
coping with a lot.
I think how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? I mean, it's just don't try to answer every question with every experience. Just kind of take it for what it is and sit with it. Don't try to overthink everything. I mean, I have a bad habit of doing that. That's why the advice I'm giving is something I'm trying to make sure I listen myself. Um, you see something, you want to see a UFO, and you see a UFO, don't try to overthink it. Don't. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole for a while after seeing that craft, and it ended up now I see stuff all the time. I see orbs. I see. It's a nod, and it's almost like somebody saying hello. And it's a lot less of an intense. What do I do with this? Or is it a message? Is it it's kind of a cool, just realizing that there's more to reality than we understand and know. And that's a beautiful thing in itself.
I'm going to put up 2 angels for you. If you could get something private and an amazing amount of common perspective, there's a Charlotte and a Claire. Claire is all about resilience, but if you want to call it handling PTSD, letting go, or clarity, that could also be her. And then Charlotte is just super chill. She's like that third-grade teacher who was really nice, not the one who got people in trouble. And if you're in New Zealand watching right now, third form. But those two, feel an extra vibration come through, feel an extra calm. If you don't mind closing your eyes are closed. Good. Have them come in and show you something. You don't have to share it out loud, but if you do on this one want to share it out loud, have them give you something that's shareable. And breathe extra at home. If you need extra help, I always say breathe through the mouth, 1 millimeter, shoulders up and down. You're in your field. And I'll say it in a funny way out of LA Story with Steve Martin, the movie. Be outstanding in your field with sunflowers.
So I saw a piece of paper with writing on it. I don't know if it was because you referenced like teacher, but it was almost like a piece of paper and it said, "Get out of your head," you know?
I love it. Um, I still have one more group, Native American chiefs. There's 3 of them: Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo. I'm going to put up Dull Knife first. He's wisdom with some humor, and he's very grounding. So here's Dull Knife, and I'll put him up closer. Historical figure. You can
Mhm.
already catch a scent in the room. I haven't lit anything. Tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, sage, desert, pinon, pine. Are you already getting a smell in the air?
Mhm.
Beautiful. And then get something private for you. Get a hug and we'll call it a Native American blessing. But then something that's, again, you can relay to all of us. What's Dull Knife say? His original name was Morningstar, but he chose Dull Knife after a particular incident. What's he have as a reminder for mankind right now?
Use your discernment. Use your discernment. Don't be guided by other people trying to guide you down a path. Use your own discernment. That's what I'm getting.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. Okay, here's Red Shirt. I call him the gentlest mom in the world. Not a manly description, but he's a chief, Lakota Sioux, historical figure. This is a historical photo. He's wearing a U.S. presidential medal around his neck that was given to him, I think, by Roosevelt. The day after the photo was taken, he, Geronimo, Pennsylvania Ave, White House horseback parade. But he comes through very quickly, very softly.
I got it.
Yeah. And what's he have for all of us?
I don't know if this was for me or for everyone, but a reminder was you can't be brave without being fearful. Bravery can only be accomplished in the presence of fear. So it's okay to be afraid.
Oh, I like that. Okay, and last but not least, and this one steals the show. You think angels or Elvis or Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, God would be like absolutely number one without question. But Geronimo, he's action, dry wit, humor. If anybody still remembers the black and white movies from the 1930s, I think, Bowery Boys, he's got that street smarts, like, and he doesn't talk formal like the last two chiefs. Yes, no. It's more like, yeah, nah, duh, you already know the answer. And before you can get the question out, he's like a lightning bolt coming right in. He's got your best interest for you. I'm doing the grandfather figure. He's like a tiger, but if he's on your side, part of your team, and a relative, like an uncle, he's like a kitten at the heart. So here he is. Really feel this one if you don't mind and catch something from him in the air, a scent. What are you, first of all, smelling?
Tobacco.
Good. And then he's going to hit hard in a sort of a warrior, inner fearless, peaceful warrior way. What does he have? And sometimes he curses. So I freaked out the very first time he cursed. I was like, oh boy, I'm out of business. And what's he have as a reminder for all of us?
He's saying to be vocal, use your voice. Be vocal, use your voice. Say what you need to say. Don't sit back. Right now is not the time to sit back and observe. It's time to take action. We need to come together and I guess use our voice. That's what I'm getting.
And I do want to reference one last time the Jesse Michels interview because you, in your capacity as a soldier, got to witness technology that was beyond human the scope of what we think is possible. But clearly, a lot more is out there and has already been studied for a long time, maybe more than 50 years. And even physics itself, as we touched on earlier, is probably way more advanced than we've been allowed to see. Um, What's your takeaway with all those efforts, and how do you reconcile it with something bigger going on? And before you answer, I'm still going to put up like Archangel Michael, Joy, and My Guardian Angel, an actual silhouette of an angel. Only complex name. It's not John, Sarah, Susie. It's Min, like Minnesota, Lakota Sioux word for water. She's very oceany. Get extra perspective and light and energy and love coming in all around you. And how do you reconcile those experiences with all the changes happening for mankind, planet Earth, consciousness expansion itself? And that's only $1 trillion question. So, any way you want to answer it, what do they like? Have them influence the way you were going to answer, but without influencing in a bad way, just encouraging you to feel into it.
A lot of changes are coming. They're going to happen rapidly. It's going to be the most drastic changes we've ever experienced as a species, as far as we can remember. And I think the key in all this is to come together, come together, and to remember that we are more powerful than anybody that would try attempt to control us. As a collective, we are the power. Us, us people, we the people.
And I think this is probably the most more important mantra we can pull from the ether, from angels, from the universe in a loving way. If a person's a year from now very worried, they accidentally turned on CNN, Fox, one of those TV channels with news, and they got freaked out. How can they trust that they're being looked out for in a way that feels reassuring? How can they trust their heart more? How can they allow for us to not be alone in the universe? I'm going to put up three, a warrior in there, Gabriel, four archangels. Gabriel's in the rainbow pie slices. Can you give us sort of a mantra, a saying that if a person said it 10 times, they might feel a little better? It could be just, I am love, I am protected. But what are you getting right now for a very, I hate to use the word prophetic. What's a great saying, a mantra, a reminder to help us back into our hearts out of fear?
D- Do not, well, don't fear. Death is not the end, so don't, there's no reason to fear anything, right? We are immortal beings. There's something I want to say that came to mind when you said what you said, though. Um, because of my experiences that I've had and what's subsequently what's happened in the aftermath of me coming forward and some of the other exposures I've had to things since then, I've been privy to at least see a little bit behind the curtain, I would say, and I can tell you that there are a lot of really good people fighting for us every day, and they're at the highest levels. And no matter what you see on the news and the smoke screen and the all the BS that's coming out and the negativity, there are really good people at really high levels that are fighting for all of us. And I
That's
know that. And that makes me feel better too, because I know some of those people and I know what they're doing and I think it's amazing. And trust me, there are people up there all the way to the top that are fighting for the good and that we
beautiful.
will prevail.
As we start to wrap up, I'm going to do two more interactive things. I'm going to show light on my fingers and go a little wider. You don't have to, on the little wider part, share anything, but just say got it if you got something really cool. A lot of guests blab, and that's okay too. They see a cardinal. They see light, ball light, a Merkaba. I wouldn't even know how to describe what that is right now. I'm a little bit of a blank, but you'll get what you're going to get. And I get to tell a dad joke. That's the coolest part. So here's the dad joke. I'm going to actually tell everyone how I got all my dad jokes. It was back at University of Mumbai. I double majored in cloning and hide and seek. I never finished the program. I had to take a year off to find myself. Cloning, hide and seek. Okay, I had to walk back into the store to ask that to be explained to me, that joke, and I've told it 1,000 times since. That's how I approach spirituality is I got to have a direct experience. It's hard to
Mm.
have it explained to me. Okay, or I need it explained to me. Here's a little bit of light. Allow, allow, allow. It's the Zen thing, seeing without seeing. So your heart already is seeing light on everything. Trees, your dog, people. Okay, and just get a little bit of light. What are you seeing right now?
It's white light.
Good. And that's all the colors combined. Only thing bigger is rainbow light. So if you see rainbow light, hit pause, run out and buy a lotto ticket. Okay. Here's the extra light. And now what are you seeing between my fingers? And if you get an object, just say object. But if you're bold and you don't care, say what you're seeing specifically. It's your call.
An object. I see an object.
Good. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to stop in just 1 second. I'll tell one more dad joke. Santa's reindeer, Blitzen, Dancer, just those two. You don't have to remember who they are at all. Why do they drink so much coffee? Blitzen and Dancer, why do they drink so much coffee? Because they're Santa's Starbucks.
Uh,
Okay, one last, I'm going to whoosh one time. I'm going to send energy, but you're not going to blame me. We're going to blame angels. Don't blame Canada. I'm going to whoosh a lot of love and light. If you could pretend you're at a concert right now, which is your heart, and you're always on stage in your heart, if you don't mind allowing, and we did this before the show, so I know it works, and we might have done it last time, although I'm a sieve for remembering anything we've done. Catch a little bit of love and light. It could be ocean, it could be flowers, it could be just whoosh tingles all over. I'm gonna put somebody's photo up. I'm gonna put Joy's photo up. Let her be our ambassador chaperone. But you're gonna get stuck with something. You got to close this show out with something broad, the way you've already been talking, and she'll give you a hint or two. And as I whoosh you, let some of that light go to the closing speech. And we'd love to have you back on anytime in the future you'd like to come back on and tape. Here comes the whoosh, though. I'm going to blow through the microphone that's up top today. I'll try to make it extra loud. I think this microphone filters it all out, so it'll just look like me silently blowing. Are you ready? Let me hear a yes or got it.
Got it ready.
Okay, here we go. Randy Anderson in Nevada. How about them apples? Did you feel something?
Oh yeah.
Okay. The human condition. Everyone tries to address this on every show, one way or the other. Sometimes it's our seeking technological, this, that. We're worried about an alien invasion. Other times it's self-help, it's Tony Robbins, it's whatever. What do we need to know? How are you wrapping this up?
I'd say the thing you're waiting on is probably yourself, and don't be afraid. There's nothing to fear, and enjoy the experience. Enjoy the excitement. There's a lot coming. And you might as well take it in stride and enjoy it. There's gonna be a lot of cool stuff coming. Not just
Randy,
bad, you know.
Randy Anderson, enjoy the ride, and you're doing it. I know it's not always easy, but I really appreciate having you on the APL Spotlight series like this. Wonderful guest. Looking forward to having you come back.
Super grateful for you having me. Thanks, man.